360 million people in Latin America still living in poverty are the region's most intractable problem. And when the UN says that these people can't meet their basic needs, it's things like food and shelter they lack. Houses need money, even when you build them yourself. And Latin America is full of half-finished houses and shacks. It's not about how much you earn, but it is about development. What kind of solution might business bring?
Ok, chicas, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo amanecieron el día de hoy? ¿Cómo les fue? Cuéntenme. ¿Sí? Ayer ya no me dio tiempo de terminar de señalar los volantes. Les pido que me ayuden. Les voy a pasar unos tantitos para que los vayan marcando, los vayan revisando. Ajá. Y nos vayamos a trabajar. Ya llevamos el Canvas plan.
Like in any sales team, when this voucher is handed in, they get paid their commission. Today, they're on the outskirts of Mexico City. What are they selling? Cement.
Creciendo tu casa y su patrimonio con tan solo 200 pesos semanales.
Señora, buenas tardes. Sí, gracias. A un crédito le estoy ofreciendo un crédito de material para que empiece o termine de construir su casa. Veo que le falta mucho por construir.
Pues a eso todavía me falta mucho, pero este es de mi hija.
¿Sí?
Y mire a dónde llegó y no ha podido, porque pues aquí en el campo no, y lo peor es que ya no tenemos donde sembrar, pues ya no, nada más con el trabajo. Si nos hicieran favor, pues sí lo aceptaríamos.
Others are further on in the process. Cemex has proved one thing. It knows this market, and the program is tailored to meet it.
Estos sectores no tienen acceso a financiamiento.
These communities don't have access to financing. They are not disciplined enough to save money. They don't have the knowledge in terms of construction to optimize the use of materials. They have no easy access to the supply of these materials. All those barriers are removed by the Patrimonio Hoy program.
In 10 years, the project has helped around 1 million Mexicans to build their own homes. People like Javier Ferreira. He earns just $65 a week as a local builder. Despite being only 23 years old, the scheme has allowed him to ply his trade on his own house in the town of San Pablo, Actopan.
The kitchen is going to be here, the stove and the fridge down there. There's going to be the living room, the larder. In the back there's going to be my room, my future room, and here in the corner are going to be the stairs to go to the second floor.
At the local Patrimonio Hoy office, Javier pays 200 pesos, or $15, into his account. He does this every week for just over a year. But he can order his building supplies right at the start of the scheme, and they arrive as and when he needs them. Before this project, no one here would have dreamt of getting credit. Now they can play a part in the real economy. The winners are also the project sponsors, Cemex, who are now tapping into a new market amongst Mexico's poor. It's business, but not as we know it.
We firmly believe that all this idea of corporate social responsibility has to be embedded in the business model. It is not about philanthropy or giving away resources, but about building really loyalty of the clients, of the future customers.
On the ground, this is what building loyalty looks like. Getting the Cemex word out door to door.
El
95% of our promoters are women. They receive a commission for getting people involved in the program, and that generates an extra income for their families. The distributors and the building suppliers also increase their incomes, and obviously the construction workers of the region have more work, which boosts the economy of the community.
Javier and his family have been living with relatives. Soon they'll have a home of their own and an asset that they can pass on to future generations.
I feel very proud of what I have achieved, because not every day you can build so quickly. And I want to keep involved in the program Patrimonio Hoy to be able to finish my second floor.
In just over 14 months, Javier has built a whole house. Before the Patrimonio Hoy scheme, the average time to build a house was 5 years. On average, for those in the scheme, this has been halved. On top of that, a third of the participants, according to CEMEX, feel their increased space means they can run a small business from home.
Once they have their own house, then they can move beyond that. The next step is to have their own micro business, which is important, is linked to that. And then they can get out of extreme poverty or out of poverty, then they can move ahead.
Multinationals like CEMEX are still thin on the ground. They have big levers, but they can work anywhere in the world. So they have to have very good reasons to work in an emerging market or poor country. This looks like subsistence agriculture, small scale and providing a living. Just. It can be seen in poor countries the world over. But can national businesses help turn subsistence farmers like these in Peru into beneficiaries of globalization?
National companies who, in our view, have played a much stronger role in inclusive business than the multinationals live in the emerging market. They wake up seeing the poverty around them. The motivations for them to contribute to that mitigation of poverty is far greater because it's part of the fabric of who they are as business leaders in their communities.
In fact, these farmers are part of a cooperative. They get advice on the best way to grow. And that matters, because it means their trees are more productive and they earn more money. But who gets the benefits?
It is a big change. We used to sell to a wholesaler. Now we sell to an export company directly. The company helps us a lot, like loans, fertilizers to work our soil, credit, and we have learned to work with Perusa.
The company Perusa started to work with a farmers' cooperative in the 1980s. It started with one association. Now it is 283, each one made up of 20 to 30 farmers. The company can sell the additional quantity, but it's also interested in the quality.
Before we were dealing with Perusa, we were coffee pickers, but not at this level. We used to wash our coffee in dirty water. Since we started to work with Perusa, there has been a big change.
Germany was the first organic coffee market targeted by Perusa, but having developed a presence there, they moved on to Japan, the United States, and the wider European market, reaping the premium for organic and high-quality beans and passing that on to the farmers. Now, having left the subsistence level behind, there are also no middlemen to pay.
By cutting out the middleman, the farmers are saving in both ways. One, quantity, they improve the quantity-wise, the productivity of the farms, let's say 30% improving, plus the quality-wise 20 to 30% as well. In total, we can say improving the incomes of the poor farmers 40 to 50% working directly with our company.
Clearly, there will always be winners and losers. Life has changed for the middlemen, for instance. But how much can business do the changing? Where does the balance between business and the rest of society lie?
Not everybody is ready for globalization in Latin America. You can find small producers which won't benefit from globalization, and you can find huge corporations which would benefit from globalization. But if you don't improve reforms in the land tenure system, if you don't improve access to schools, to medicines, and you don't put the resources for the poor people, then they won't benefit from, this economic growth.
The fact that millions and billions of people are excluded from the market and from the marketplace makes it very difficult for them to move from subsistence livelihoods to economic actors or economic protagonists. Economic inclusion is one of the only ways in which to do that. They must be part of the economic activities around them if you want to see them evolve from $1 or $2 a day to 4 or 5, one day 10, being able to afford sending their kids to school, etc.
The journey away from poverty, represented by $2 a day, is one millions of Latin Americans would like to start. In the past, democratic change has been seen by many as delivering less than promised. The pragmatic power of business is evident, but whether it can deliver big, sustainable solutions is a point still waiting to be proved. Next week on The Other America, heading for the United States. One way to leave $1 a day. But is there a way they can earn more at home? The 360 million people in Latin America still living in poverty are the region's most intractable problem. And when the UN says that these people...
El día de hoy, ¿cómo les fue? Cuéntenme. ¿Sí? Ayer ya no me dio tiempo de terminar de señalar los volantes, les pido que me ayuden. Les voy a pasar unos tantitos para que los vayan marcando, los vayan revisando. Ajá. Y nos vayamos a trabajar, ya llevamos el Canvas Plan.
Like in any sales team, when this voucher is handed in,
Señora, buenas tardes. Sí, gracias. A un crédito para... Le estoy ofreciendo un crédito de material.
They get paid their commission. Today, they're on the outskirts of Mexico City. What are they selling? Cement.
Creciendo tu casa y tu patrimonio con tan solo 200 pesos semanales.
Can't meet their basic needs. It's things like food and shelter they lack. Houses need money, even when you build them yourself. And Latin America is full of half-finished houses and shacks. It's not about how much you earn, but it is about development. What kind of solution might business bring?
Ok, chicas, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo